Hi guys, we've already talked about finding slope from a graph, so now we're going to talk about finding slope from 2 points. And you don't always have a graph or a picture to show you the equation of the line. Sometimes you just have the coordinate points of 2 points that are on the line. So in this example, we have 2 points. We have this 7, 2 and this 5, 1. Those are 2 points that are located on the line, and we could graph those points on a coordinate plane and then count the rise over the run, or we can also just use the formula for finding slope from 2 points. So the formula for that, when you're finding slope from 2 points, because remember m is slope, we're going to do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Notice those 1s and 2s are subscripts. They are not exponents. They're little 1s and 2s that are lower, not higher. And that just means that we have a distinct y and a distinct y. In other words, they're not the same y. They're 2 different y's. But if you notice, if you go over to our points, all coordinate points are x comma y. So this first point, 7, 2, is really an x and a y. And this second point, 5, 1, is also an x and a y. So if you realize that 7 is the x and 5 is the x and 2 is the y and 1 is the y, we can plug that in. So basically the slope from 2 points is y minus y over x minus x. It doesn't matter which y you start with as long as you start with the same x from that point. So let's look over here at our y's. Remember, our y's are the second point in the coordinate pair. So we have a 2 and a 1. So we're going to do 2. Take my pair. So we're going to do 2 minus 1 because that is our y, is our 2 and our 1. And since we started with the 2, which is the y in this pair, we have to start with the 7, which is the x in the same pair. So then we have 7 minus 5. And there's a little lag in the screen, so 7 minus 5 on the bottom. So then we go ahead and figure that out. 2 minus 1 is 1 on top. And 7 minus 5 gives us the 2 on the bottom. So the slope for this one right here ends up being 1/2. We double check the directions. It needs to be put in as a fraction or as an integer, which means we cannot put in decimals. Even though 1/2 is the same as 0.5, they're giving us the instructions here that they will not accept the decimal version. It's good to note that slope is usually kept in its fractional form because when you have 1 over 2, that's the rise over the run, it's easier to see that we're going up 1 and over 2, whereas when it's in its decimal form, it's harder to understand what that actually means. So we put in that the slope is 1/2. A little lag in here, and it says good job. Okay, so we're here with another example that I want you guys to do to show that you understand. So slope, remember, is y minus y over x minus x when we're dealing with 2 points. So what are our 2 y values that we're going to put in on the top? So our 2 values are a 1 and a 5. We can either do 1 minus 5 or we can do 5 minus 1. I'm going to choose to do 5 minus 1 because it makes sense to do the bigger number minus the bottom number. It doesn't really matter what order you do it in as long as you're consistent with the x's. Since I chose the 5 to go first, which x should I now choose to go first? So we should choose the 6 to go first because the 6 is in the same point as the 5, and since the 5 was the first y, 6 has to be the first x. So go ahead and tell me what this equals right here. And now we know the slope is 4/5.